What's up everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about 5 underrated bands who are hardly getting any streams on Spotify, which leads me to believe, wow, how is that possible? I love these bands. All the bands that I'm going to mention are bands who I listen to regularly, who I love, but I'm sure everyone watching this, if you know anything about music, will know these bands. I'm sure you've heard their songs before, and I'm sure that you enjoy their songs, so why are they getting so little streams? To put this into perspective for you, the biggest bands out there, the Blink-182s, the Green Days, the Slipknots, they're getting anywhere between 10 to 20 million streams every single month. The medium-sized bands, such as All American Rejects, Simple Plan, Yellow Card, they're getting anywhere between 4 million and 10 million listeners every single month. But some of the bands that I'm going to mention in this video, they're getting as little as 100,000 listeners a month. You know, that's good, right? If you've got 100,000 people listening to your music every single month, that's pretty cool, right? But I think these bands deserve to be getting 4 million, 5 million, 6 million listeners every single month. Guys, if you like this kind of content, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more of these music talks and more news and reviews on all the latest bands. So let's get into this. Band number 1, Set Your Goals. This band were absolutely huge when I was growing up. It didn't matter what background you were from. If you were a super duper hardcore kid wearing like a New Era cap and a Terror t-shirt, or if you were a scene kid, a real metal kid wearing some brutal deathcore t-shirt, everyone really liked Set Your Goals. Hardcore kids, pop punk kids, punk rock kids, everyone liked Set Your Goals at the time. Their song Echoes was absolutely huge on MySpace, and then along came the songs Gaia Bleeds and The Few That Remain. These songs were huge. They were getting shared widely on Facebook. Lots of people were watching the music videos on YouTube. And yeah, I get it. This band have not been heavily active for the last 8 to 10 years. They haven't released any new music. They've been on hiatus. They've only done a few festival appearances and a few one-off shows and like small tours here and there. But that being said, lots of bands are inactive and still lots of people listen to their music. So what happened to Set Your Goals? Because Set Your Goals are only getting 93,000 listeners every single month. Now compare that to another popular band from the same era, of the same or very similar genre, 4 Years Strong, getting 475,000 listeners every single month. Now, I get it, right? If you haven't toured for a while, you haven't released music for a while, then not a lot of people will know about you. You're not exactly going to be trending on YouTube or Spotify if you haven't released anything new, and no one's going to know anything about you if you're not going and playing the festivals or you're not hopping on tours and supporting other bands, right? But man, considering how big they were back in the day, this came as a shock to me because me and my friends, we were super excited to see them play at Slam Dunk Festival a few years ago. And we were all very, very disappointed when they actually had to drop out. But here's the weird thing about that, right? This is weird. They said that they had to drop out of that festival appearance because one of the members was sick. This is unusual though. Usually if a member is sick or unable to tour, the band will still go and tour. They will still go and play the shows because the show must go on. When Travis Barker couldn't go to Australia, Blink-182 got Brooks Wackerman of Bad Religion and Avenged Sevenfold to fill in on drums, right? When Joel from the Amity Affliction was sick during Warped Tour, they had other members of other bands come in and fill in for him. So just because one member's sick, that's very strange to cancel the show. Normally bands would get a touring musician, a session musician, or they just go on without them. Woe Is Me did this at Warped Tour a few years ago. So I found this a little bit strange that Set Your Goals. I think there might have been something going on. I could be wrong. They could all be best buds and super happy and they just didn't want to travel from the USA to the UK. But that was a little bit strange. No matter what music you like, in fact, you should check out Set Your Goals. Next band, Man Overboard. Man Overboard became popular when the resurgence of pop punk was happening around the year 2011. What I liked about Man Overboard was, unlike the other easycore bands, they were a bit more similar to bands like Sugarcult and Yellow Card, and I really thought they'd be bigger. I'm sure lots of you guys probably saw the Defend Pop Punk beam / t-shirt, which was really popular at the time. That was going around on Tumblr and stuff. But yeah, the sound on their album, the production value on their music is really, really good. The drums, the guitars, it sounds really good. They got great vocalists, dual vocalists as well, and bands with dual vocalists often do well, in my experience anyway. That's from what I've seen. But again, they became inactive. And I don't think this was because anything bad happened. I just think that some bands get a little bit over it, right? Not everyone is up for the lifestyle of constantly being on the road the year round, okay? Some bands can handle it. They'll go to Australia, then they'll go to Asia, then they'll do a Europe tour, then they'll do a North America tour, and then they'll rest for a month, and then they'll go again, right? But some bands, you know, they've got wives, they've got houses, and Man Overboard actually mentioned this. You know, the band members had wives, they had houses, they didn't want to go out on the road. They were a bit like, let's take a break. We've done 7 years of this. It's a bit exhausting, constantly touring, recording, not being able to stay home for very long. But their music was really, really good, regardless. And considering how viral their merchandise went, right, and all the tours they were playing on, I really thought that they would be bigger and have more listeners. Because, right, here's another inactive band, another band who were touring for a while and then became inactive for quite a few years and have been doing bits and bobs here and there, is Chunk No Captain Chunk, right? One of my favorite bands. I absolutely love them. I would say they're no better or worse than Man Overboard. They're doing around the same amount of activity, but they've got 244,000 listeners a month, which is nearly double that of Man Overboard. Okay, on to the next band. This one I was really shocked by because they've been around since about 2004, I think, and they were getting really big way back in 2006. And that band is Enter Shikari. I saw them back in 2006 playing a 100-person capacity venue in my hometown of Guildford in Surrey in the United Kingdom. These days, they're headlining the tents at festivals, or they're headlining the second stage. In fact, they played Slam Dunk Festival back in 2017 and headlined the entire thing. They go on epic tours. They get played on BBC Radio. They get played on Kerrang constantly, or at least they were before. In the United Kingdom, Enter Shikari are huge, and I'm pretty sure they're still pretty big in America as well, right? If you're a band who's headlining a festival, I'd expect you would have at least 4 million listeners every single month, right? 4 or 5 million listeners. But no, Enter Shikari are getting 537,000 monthly listeners on their Spotify. Isn't that a little bit weird for a band who are headlining a festival? And what's really crazy about that, right? I know these two bands are completely different genres, but they're getting less listeners than Fozzy, which is Chris Jericho. Yes, professional WWE wrestler Chris Jericho's band is getting more listeners than Enter Shikari. And yeah, they're completely different, and maybe Chris Jericho has a huge fan base for being a wrestler for a long time, but Chris Jericho's band, they play festivals at like midday, 12, 1 o'clock. Enter Shikari are the headlining band. But can you imagine that? Can you imagine being a member of Enter Shikari and then realizing, wait, less people are listening to us on Spotify than a professional wrestler's band? Next band, Miss May I. I really like this band. I don't listen to them as much as I do other bands like The Amity Affliction and We Came as Romans. Those are my two favorite metalcore bands, I guess you could say. However, Miss May I have some really, really good riffs. If you listen to songs like IHE, I Hate Everything, I Hate Everyone, and if you listen to their song Masses of a Dying Breed, the guitars are fantastic, the productions, the screaming mixed with the clean vocals on songs like Hey Mister as well. Really good, and really pretty good catchy hooks as well. So I thought they'd be getting at least equal amount of listeners to other metalcore bands, right? Well, actually, they're getting 426,000 listeners, which is good. It's still good. It's nearly the same amount as Enter Shikari. However, The Word Alive are getting 906,000 listeners, nearly a million. Memphis May Fire are getting 830,000 listeners, again, nearly a million. We Came as Romans, 934,000, and The Amity Affliction, over 1 million. Now, you can't really compete with The Amity Affliction because I would say they're probably the most successful metalcore band at the moment, or at least one of them. Of Mice and Men were pretty darn successful for a while, but now Amity Affliction are the ones getting all the YouTube plays. They're the ones who are getting the interviews. They're the ones who are playing the big festivals, and they're also the ones who are on the covers of the magazines, right? Miss May I are a bit more of a Warped Tour band, you know, but there's no reason why they can't have the same amount of listeners as, say, We Came as Romans. The talent is about the same, I would say. I love We Came as Romans, but the songwriting talent, the amount of time they've been around, the fan base. I think one thing which might be making a massive difference here is that the vocalists of the other bands I mentioned, such as The Word Alive, such as Memphis Mayfire. These are not only good-looking vocalists, and it's quite easy to see why they would have a fan base there, but they're also very versatile vocalists with extremely high ranges. They have like falsetto ranges is what I'm trying to say, if that even makes sense. Telly from The Word Alive, incredible voice. Matty Mullins, again, fantastic voice. I don't really like their music that much. I don't like his solo music that much. I don't even really like the guy that much for some reason. I think the problem with Miss May I is that even though they're good looking guys and they're cool guys and they've been around for like over a decade, I think they struggle to have that charisma and also that range, that vocal range. Their clean vocalist, I forget his name, really good voice, but hasn't got the same range as other vocalists. Final band, going with another British band, represent Rome. Do you guys know Rome? Do you guys listen to Rome? I liked their early stuff most of all. I liked the slightly newer songs such as Alive. I thought that was a pretty good song, but my first impression of them was the song Dead Weight. I heard that on Kerrang. They used to play it every morning before I'd go to work. And I really liked the fast kind of, the really fast sort of guitars in that. I thought they were going to be like another easycore band, but actually they're more of a pop punk band. That song's pretty easycore, it's pretty heavy, it's got the real fast chugging guitars, but actually most of their stuff, songs like Tracks, Alive, Cabin Fever, it's more sort of soft pop rock, pop punk, but it's really good. I saw Rome play at Slam Dunk 2018, really good, really fun show. They seem like really nice guys, they're just really cool, down to earth. They're just really nice, happy, chilled out guys wearing bright clothes, and they play happy, upbeat, pop punk music, basically. Anyway, they only get 130,000 monthly listeners, which is shocking as they have 3 very good albums. And when you compare them to other bands in the genre, such as Knuckle Puck, who get 415,000 listeners a month, I don't think Rome are any better or worse. And I personally, I love Knuckle Puck, but I actually kind of personally prefer Rome. But yeah, they're getting not nearly as many listeners as other bands in the genre. But there's no reason that bands like Rome and Knuckle Puck can't get. They have the songwriting capabilities, they do the touring, they have the charisma, they have the cool music videos. But then again, this could be something to do with the record label. Sometimes bands aren't marketed heavily by their record label. This can be a real big make or break. For example, Parkway Drive, their label are marketing them so heavily that they will rent out entire billboards for a Parkway Drive concert, right? Or a new Parkway Drive album. But bands like Miss May I, Rome, Knuckle Puck, The Word Alive, 4 Years Strong, Chunk No Captain Chunk, they don't have that marketing budget. A lot of people only know about these bands because of the festival circuit, the Warped Tour, the Slam Dunk, Download Festival, that kind of thing, right? I only ever heard of Amity Affliction because a few friends at college would talk about them, but I never really thought to listen to them. But then I saw them supporting Of Mice and Men a few years ago, and I was like hooked. Oh wow, okay, new favorite band. Absolutely incredible. I have quite a few Amity Affliction tattoos as well, right? So yeah, there's a lot of factors. It's not just that the band are good or bad, it can also be that they don't have the marketing budget behind them. Their YouTube videos aren't streaming, aren't getting hits. They're not getting picked up by channels like Kerrang Radio. I remember Yumi at 6 really blew up because Kerrang were really constantly playing their music videos, and they were touring very heavily with bands like Newfound Glory, Paramore, Fall Out Boy, and Angels and Airwaves, which really helped them blow up. Sometimes it can be right place at the right time. Sometimes it can be marketing. Sometimes it could be that one of your albums just wasn't as good as the last one. There's a variety of factors, but needless to say, all the bands I mentioned, they're all good. I like all of them. I listen to them on a regular basis, and I think that you guys should listen to them too. Awesome, guys. That's my video. Gonna close it out here. Thank you so much for watching. If you could please hit the subscribe button, that'd be absolutely legendary. It is the most important thing you can do for the channel. I hope you enjoyed this. Please drop a comment down below any other things you'd like me to cover or talk about, or any bands who I might have missed, or who you think I should listen to, or who you think anyone else watching this should listen to. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.